my chances. Oh gosh, crazy. But I decided, at that time the internet was, the online dating sites were just coming into prominence at that time. And so I said, well, let me join, a couple of dating sites and see, what comes up or anything. And so I joined eHarmony. Didn't like it. Didn't like anybody that they chose from me. Hated that site. Tried blackpeoplemeet.com. Got a lot of hits and everything on Black People Meet, and but just not anybody that I really wanted to associate with. Because it was literally like when I joined Black People Meet, the second I put my picture up, it was like you got all these hits from all these. They were like winks or nudges or whatever, from men, and I was just like, oh my God, it freaked me out so bad that I literally logged off, because it just freaked me out so bad, because it was like just a whole bunch just coming at me, and they were like men that were living in freaking Florida. I'm like, why are you? I clearly say in my little synopsis, or that what about yourself, that I live in California. Why are you sending me a message if you're living in Florida? That's crazy. So I logged off, and I don't think I logged back on for like a week or something. And then I kind of got the nerve, I guess it was lonely or whatever, and I got off the nerve and I logged back in, and my current husband, Roger, sent me a text, and he's like, I sent you a note the last time you were online and you didn't respond, but I'm sending you another, response, and hoping that, you'll respond to me. So I clicked on his picture, and it said that he lived in California. So I was like, okay, he lives in California. He lives in Yorba Linda. And I lived in Northridge, California, which it's about like a 60 mile difference. But I'm like, that's kind of doable if you kind of like meet in the middle or whatever, it could work or whatever. And from by looking at his picture, I thought he was like a police officer or something. And big burly guy, and so we just kind of like talked online, emailed each other for I guess like about a week, and then after a week he asked if I wanted to meet him, and so I said yeah. I said he gave me his phone number and told me to call him, and I said, excuse me, I'm a lady. I'm not calling you, but you can call me. And I gave him my phone number, and then he didn't call me. Well, he didn't call me that day. He called me like the next day, and we talked, and he was well spoken and quiet, and I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. We said it's just the same kind of values, conservative, and our political and religious beliefs were, lining up, and so it was like, oh, okay. You wanna meet for dinner? And so we met kind of like in the middle. Now that I come to think of it, it was more toward, I traveled further than he did, but I said, well, let's meet halfway, and we decided to meet. We met at a barbecue restaurant. And I told my son, because I had never dated or anything. So when I told my son that I was going to go meet this guy, my son was like, are you out of your mind? And I'm like, DJ, I'm going to go meet him. This is where I'm going. I'll call you when I get there. If you haven't heard from me in an hour after I call you, call the police. So anyway, so I met my current husband, Roger, in the parking lot. Luckily, neither one of us lied about how we looked. We looked exactly like our pictures were, so we both knew each other when we saw each other. And we hit it off great. I mean, literally, we sat there at the restaurant and we talked and we talked. And it was like we had known each other our whole lives. And after we ate and I was driving home and I was just like, wow, that was really nice. And it was just so random that I wouldn't suggest, I won't say I wouldn't suggest, but I don't know how beneficial Black people meet really is to meeting your spouse. I just think it was just pure, honest luck that we met and that we were compatible in the way in which we were. But, you know, the thing about it is you can choose to want to be in a relationship, and if you do choose that, you have to let all that stuff that happened in your past go. You have to. You cannot be bitter. You cannot make demands, you know, on loyalty and fidelity based on what someone else did, because if you're basing it off of your previous relationships, and in, let's say your previous relationships, everyone that you know or everyone that you've been with has cheated on you, and you know, I just can't find a man that there are no men that are faithful. There are no men that are, you know, that you can depend on or that you can count on or whatever. Then that's the type of men that you're picking. That's not all men. That's the type of man that you are picking. Don't blame it on all men, because most men are not like that. Most men are not. But there may be something in your brain or in your mind that attracts you in some kind of way to that type of man. So you need to reevaluate what you're looking for in a man. And you can't say, I want him to be tall, dark, handsome, or I want him to be short, light-skinned, and, you know, whatever. You cannot do that. You have to look at the person. And if that person fits with what you think and you believe and what makes you comfortable, that's who you pick. You know, you just have to. And you have to look at yourself. If you keep picking, if these things keep happening to you over and over again, then you got to sit back, which I had years and years to sit back and reflect on what I want in a husband. And knowing whether or not you want to be married. Do you want to be married? And if you want to be married, pick somebody that wants to be married too. Why pick someone that's like, oh, I don't believe in marriage. Why would you even want to be associated with anybody that cannot make a commitment to you? Why? The one thing, ever since I was young, because I've been married 3 times as a Black woman, it's crazy, but I've been married 3 times, I can tell you that the one thing that I've always done, because I've always known that I want to be married, is if I'm in a relationship, I expect it to end in marriage. Or I want to be married. I put that right out front. Right out front. Because otherwise, why even bother? I mean, if it's not important to you, if you've just been in a relationship, not having marriage or any of those things is not important to you, then find somebody that believes that too, and it's all good. There's no problem. But if your goal is that you want to be in a committed relationship that leads to marriage, let that person know right off the bat that that's where you're coming from. You know, and don't bring the bitterness and the anger that just living life has dealt us all. It's dealt us all. Nobody's life has been charmed. everybody can write a bestseller on their life story, because it'll have everything. It'll have drama, sex, suspense, all that stuff. That's just part of living. That's just part of living. Okay? But being bitter, holding on to your insecurities, and not giving that other person a fair shot and a fair chance at being happy, of you two finding happiness, that's something that you have to embrace on your own. You have to embrace the letting go of hate, anger, your insecurities, all of that. You have to let go. You have to let it go. You have to find a man that has those same feelings and has those same and is able to let go too. And remember that men are very sensitive. You know, they say that women, you know, are the weaker sex, but mentally, I would beg to differ and say that men are weaker when it comes to the mentality of being in a relationship. They are very, very sensitive, and even though they may not know how to express it or whatever, the things that you say and you do, you think that they don't hurt them, but you can. You can hurt them deeply. It's so funny. We were watching a program the other day, and my husband said, what would you rather have? Would you rather take an ass whooping or get your heart broken? And my husband's like, I'll take the ass whooping any day. You know? But most men think that way. I actually took a poll, you know, at a restaurant. You know, I was like, you know, which would you rather take? And you want to know what? 9 out of 10 of the guys said that they prefer to get the ass whooping than the heartbreak. So just remember that. Anyway, that's a little bit of relationship 101 information for all you older sisters out there that are wondering, you know, do I put myself out there again? Put yourself out there. But be honest in what you're looking for. But put yourself out there. 6 years, going strong. I'm not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. Maybe if you guys comment on the video, let me know if you'd like to do. I'm probably going to have to break this video up into 2 parts, but let me comment below. Let me know if you like for me to do a husband tag with my husband Roger, and I'll see if I can convince him to do it. He's very reluctant to be on camera, but I have my ways. I may be able to talk him into doing it. Okay, thanks. Bye.